do you want to kick things off with Dalek?
Absolutely, man. So as you said, you gave me Dalek, A Heretic's Inheritance. This was released on the 6th of April earlier on this year on, I'm going to mispronounce this, but I'm going to give it a go nevertheless, Ipecac Records. It now features...
I think it's Ipecac.
Ipecac. Now features as track number 8 on their latest studio album Precipice, which itself was released on the 29th of April. That's the band's 8th studio album. Dalek, which kind of similar to what you're saying about the kind of Foxjaw songs, is all stylized in all lowercase with a wee kind of accent above the A, are an experimental hip-hop group from Newark, New Jersey, whose current lineup consists of MC Dalek on vocals and Mike Mayer on electronics, and I think they both have a part to play in the kind of production of the music. Really wasn't too sure what to expect, to be honest with you, Snedds. I think like with the single's title, I was expecting some sort of like crushing mental death metal band, but I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, it's a long track, it's just under kind of 7 minutes long, and for the most part it comprises mostly of this kind of rumbling, repetitive guitar riff with kind of whirring electronics, fuzz and kind of static. The lyrics themselves don't kick in till around the kind of 4-minute 20-second mark. I'm quite surprised it was able to kind of hold my interest, but it did. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed it. Yeah, and, you know, at the kind of 4-minute 20-second mark, you know, you kind of get these kind of rap, spoken lyrics, which I think complements each other really, really well. I've written here I'd love to be intelligent enough to decipher them. But, yeah, it was really good, man. Really good. I don't really have all that much more to say other than that. However, I did read that, I think, is it the guitarist from Tool? I think he maybe plays guitar on their new album, and I think he also had a part to play in some of their artwork, the artwork for their new album as well.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. When I first heard this, I thought Dalek were a new band, because it sounded an awful lot like Arm and Hammer, or at least with that sort of industrial kind of grinding guitar, and then some of the way the vocals were constructed with those sort of kind of offbeat melodies and things. I just thought, this is a new band. It's like doing something similar to what Arm and Hammer do, but like you said, they've been on the go since the late 90s, so they've been on the go for forever. Didn't
they release like their first album like 1998 or something?
So yeah, something like that. Yeah. So they've been on the go for a long time. I think with lineup changes, but I think one of the main guys is still involved. So it's impressive that having been on the go for so long, that they can deliver something like this. It sounds so up to date, and kind of at the forefront of this kind of music. And like I said, those guitars, they wouldn't sound out of place on an Arm and Hammer record, especially Paraffin, which is the record before the one we covered. Or is it two? No, it's 2 albums before the one we covered. So anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, and there's those grinding guitars, and there's like a real sort of bounce to the bass and the drums, and it reminds me a little bit of House of Pain's Jump Around if you slowed it down to like a snail's pace. Like, it's a very similar sort of beat, but just the tempo is far, far slower, and it has a different tone as a result, but it sounds a little bit post-apocalyptic for that reason. But even more bizarre, it sounds a little bit like the bass line from Montel Jordan's This Is How We Do It. It's just a song that goes, "This is how we do it."
I think I could see that.
And then the bass line for that comes in, and they're very similar, albeit one is a sort of fun, bouncy, like soulful hip-hop song, and the other is like this dirgy, kind of almost evil sounding at points, sort of industrial hip hop song, and it, like you say, it's really long, and there's no vocals for like 4 minutes, and yeah, I think just the quality of that bass line and that drum beat and those guitars is what keeps it interesting for 4 minutes without really changing things up too much. And then, yeah, when the vocals come in, some of them are maybe a bit more Run the Jewels than they are like Arm and Hammer. They're probably a bit more melodic and slick than some of those kind of deliberately awkward rhymes you get from Billy Woods or Lucid, but there's similarities too, like, there's a line that goes, I hold myself to the highest standard, I don't give a fuck if your gods are angered. It's a great line, and it reminds me of the song Roaches Don't Fly from the Haram album. And the particular line on that is, you don't have to be here if you don't wanna, which it's got just a similar kind of, just sounds quite similar. But I think, yeah, if you like the sort of darker side of modern hip hop, like Arm and Hammer, Clipping, Run the Jewels, then you should get a lot out of this. But I think that fans of more straight ahead stuff, and more classic stuff, are likely to feel less alienated by something like this than maybe some of the more kind of art rap sort of stuff that's going about as well. So I think this is really good. It's quite, it's experimental, but it doesn't compromise on melody and catchiness, and keeps some of those kind of classic hip hop roots, but manages to still sound quite fresh and new. So yeah, like I said before, it's impressive that a group that have been around for so long can come out with something that sounds as good as this.
Mm-hmm.
Did you give this a score?
I did. I give it a 7 out of 10.
I've given it a 9. I think it's fucking ace. Good. Okay, so that was A Heretic's Inheritance by Dalek.
By concepts of patience and leverage, privilege is hemorrhage and relabeled heritage. A heretic's inheritance, so complex to identify as American. I hold myself to a higher standard. I don't give a fuck if your gods are angry. Tick-tock, motherfucker. I hold myself to a higher standard. I don't give a fuck if your gods are angry.
It's not finished. It's finished.